The third misconception is that Anglicanism started with King Henry's divorce. Now, the Protestant Reformation was extremely significant for Anglicanism, as that's where they regained their independence from Rome. Note, I said regained, not gained. And it's also the time where its confessional and liturgical documents were produced, namely the 39 Articles and the Book of Common Prayer. But before Anglicanism was a global movement, it was simply the universal church that was planted in the British Isles. And that didn't start with King Henry. Now, there is an early church history document called On the 70 Apostles of Christ, which was likely written in the late 2nd to the early 3rd century. Now, what that document does is name the 70 that Jesus appointed in Luke 10 to go out 2 by 2. Now, number 29 on that list is Aristobulus, Bishop of Britain. So here we have an early church document that identifies one of Jesus's 70 as the Bishop of Britain, showing how early Anglicanism really was. And Gildas, who was writing from Britain in 540 AD, identified the spread of Christianity into Britain during the reign of Tiberius Caesar, who died in 37 AD, just 4 years after the resurrection of Christ. That early date would seem to coincide with the sending of one of Jesus' 70 into Britain with the gospel. Then there was Tertullian, who lived between 155 and 240 AD. He lists a bunch of different countries that received the gospel, and in it he says, the extremities of Spain, the various parts of Gaul, the regions of Britain, which have never been penetrated by Roman arms, have received the religion of Christ. Then there's Origen, writing in 240 to 245 AD, Eusebius, who died in 339, John Chrysostom, who lived between 349 and 407, and Jerome between 347 and 420. All those men also refer to the British Church. We also know that there were 3 British bishops that were sent to the Council of Arles in 314 AD, which was called by Constantine and dealt with the Donatist heresy. And then Athanasius said that the British Church assented to the Council of Nicaea's decisions and creed. So there was a British church that was flourishing early in church history with its own unique practices and emphasis known as Celtic Christianity. Now, Rome's involvement started with the appointing of Augustine as Archbishop of Canterbury in 597 AD by Pope Gregory the Great. Now, initially there was a resistance to Augustine's attempts to Romanize the British Church, such as the British church leaders' unwillingness to move the date of Easter to coincide with the Roman date. But over time there was a gradual acceptance, and one Anglican historian says, by 700, however, due to the extraordinary influence of the Archbishop of Canterbury, Theodore, the English church was not only more united and unified, but also more closely in line with the Roman Church. So the Anglican Church was independent from its founding to 597 AD, and then independent again from 1534 onwards. That means the Anglican Church has been independent for over a millennium in total, longer than the time that it was under Rome's authority. The last thing to note is that Anglicans believe in apostolic succession for their bishops. There are plenty of lists out there that document how modern Anglican clergy trace their orders back through Augustine of Canterbury in 597, but then also continuing back to the apostles. This is further evidence that the church didn't start in 1534, but goes back to the apostles in unbroken succession. To hear the remaining 4 objections, watch my video, 5 Things People Get Wrong About Anglicanism on YouTube. If you'd like to learn more about Anglicanism, I highly recommend the book Anglicanism, a Reformed Catholic Tradition by Gerald Bray. You can get that book today on Kindle or paperback, the link will be in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please click like to help expand the video's reach.